Welcome back to part 2 of my Great League Freestyle Tournament analysis. Let me just do a mic check, sound check really quick. Hopefully the audio's good. Alright, sounds good. Here we go. So this is going to be round 2, match 1. We are going up against C-Force 44. And here, let's just go up on what I envisioned and what I ended up using. So we're gonna start it with Deoxys defense form. Deoxys defense form, check marks Probo. I think it has a decent match against the Tropius because I'm running Rock Slide, and then this is just neutral. So Deoxys defense is going to get destroyed by Hypno, loses to Azumarill, and then Toxicroak. It was tricky. It should have a favorable matchup, but I went ahead and just marked it as a neutral. I did not prep for a Toxicroak, so I had no idea how that would end up. So that was that matchup. And then it's going to be very similar matchups with Mew. Pretty much very similar stuff. It's gonna let's back out of all this. So Mew with Shadow Claw. I think it should take this easily. Probo. And against the Toxicroak, it wins because I'm running Surf. So, with a few changes there, it was very similar teams. He did have no Skarmory hard counter. He might have had Skarmory depending on what his Deoxys was running. I have no idea. Either way, if it's Thunderbolt or Rock Slide, it would have been a good matchup for him. So that one's an X. Tropius is farmable. Loses to Probo, of course. And then it actually loses to the Azumarill. So it didn't look so good running the Skarmory. And then one more I wanted to check. Let's just go with Azumarill. Should be Deoxys ties Azumarill. Should lose to Tropius depending on shields. And then Toxicroak here should have been a check mark. And then not a very good matchup against Probo. So just those three alone, I think I decided that I'm only gonna run one Psychic user or Psychic type for my side because he had that potential to run Hypno, which knows Confusion, Shadow Ball, and then whatever move he wanted to run, Focus Blast, etc., etc. So let's see what I end up starting with. Oops. Let's cancel all that. Cancel all that. And we ended up with... Well, would you look at that? I ended up running with two Psychics right here. Mew, Azumarill, and the Deoxys form. Let's see how we run it. And I think I decided to run two Psychics because he didn't really have a true hard counter. Even if you ran that Hypno, only the Shadow Ball would be Super effective damage. So here, going with Side Shock to either force a shield or it's going to take a huge amount of damage. Super effective right there. I decided to let this one go. And then here we have a decision. Do we want to go to Surf or do we want to go back with the Side Shock? I decided to go Surf, and at this point I'm realizing that Side Shock in the beginning was probably not the right play, because I can't even get to another charge move here, and he's more than, I don't know, a third of health still, and he takes out my Mew. So like I said, I hadn't prepared for Toxicroak, so I didn't know how the matchups would end up running, and so I just went for the potential KO instead of the shield bait. So here, I know Mud Bomb's coming. I have to take this. And I'm charging. I'm trying to get all the energy and don't quite get it. So I shield. All my shields are gone, I believe. Right? Yeah, all the shields are gone. One Pokemon down, but he's taking out one of my Pokemon, and I'm left with high upheld Deoxys here. So Hypno comes in. I know I can't go with the Psycho Boost. It's just going to resist. And then I go with Rock Slide here. Does an okay amount of damage. I have enough energy for another Rock Slide. So here it's off to races. He's going to go for the Shadow Ball. Maybe even trying to fast move me down. But he decides to go with the Shadow Ball. This is going to be a KO easily. And I know that Confusion is going to be really slow, but he had already had advantage as far as energy, because I had to switch him, forcing me to use Ice Beam as soon as possible. And so I use up all my energy. Going against Probopass is just not a good matchup, of course. So we're definitely going to lose this match. None of these are going to be effective. And then one Thunderbolt just KOs my squad. So that was a good game right there by C-Force. And let's go into the next match. So this time, I'm thinking, I think I brought the correct stuff. I just have to line up the Pokemon correctly. And then if I run into that Toxicroak, instead of going with the Side Shock, I should be shield baiting or even going for the Surf. So round 2, match 2. We're running basically the same team, different rotation. He starts with Hypno. And we're just trying to charge up. We're going. Go for the Play Rough. Make him make a decision. He shields. And then he switches out. So in the back of my mind here, I'm like, okay, he has a Shadow Ball prepped for my Deoxys and Mew. Here, I have the energy advantage. That's why I'm able to get to the playoff. This is going to force another shield. And then this time, I go in, I switch in with the Mew. I'm probably going to shield this because I know I have to. Oh, don't shield. Okay. And so this time, I'm like, okay, must take out this Toxicroak. This is going to be an obvious shield. And then I go in with the Surf here, thinking it's going to do close to KO damage or a lot of damage, which it does. So luckily for me, it lined up. And now he's going to have Hypno with the Shadow Ball prepped. He could bring that in. It looks like he does bring it in. I shield. So he has no energy. I have a slight energy advantage. I go in with these really fast, hard-hitting Surf. Chunk out that damage. Remember, Mew has Shadow Claw, doing pretty good damage against the Hypno. He ends up getting back to his Shadow Ball, KOs, but by that time happens, I've already taken out one Pokemon of his and close to 5-6 health of his Hypno. Both of my Pokemon in the back here are sitting really nice. And here I'm just hoping I can KO without using the Shadow Ball from him. So that move right there was probably the key to the match. If he had gotten that Shadow Ball off, I probably would have lost. But luckily I forced him to use all his energy on my Mew. And here I'm just trying to KO with fast moves here, and then just doing whatever little slight damage I can do with the rock slides. Here a switch, and I don't get it in time, so he's going to be able to rock slide me back. It's going to be a switch after the charge move. This should be Thunderbolt. Yeah. Sacrificial Thunderbolt. And then I know he has no energy here, and luckily my Deoxys knows counter as a fast one and just KOs his Probopass. So he ran Probo, he ran the what is it? He ran Probo, he ran what was the other ones again? Man, I'm getting all confused here. What did he run again? Hypno, that's right. Hypno and Toxicroak. So he also ran with the same 3 Pokemon as well, but changed up the order. So here, we're going to go to match 3. Let's see how we do. I switched it up. I'm leading with the Mew because I have favorable matchups. Okay, Toxicroak. This time we make the adjustment. We go for a shield baiting Surf, or it's going to take damage. So learning from my first round, if you remember, I made the mistake of going for the Side Shock. He throws a Mud Bomb, and this time I shield, thinking I have to preserve this Mew for potential Toxicroak and potential Hypno, right? Thinking ahead. And then here I should be shielding. Yep. So preserving. And here I'm charging up, and he switches. So that was a quick move by him. He switches to Hypno. I throw in the Surf because Side Shock is not going to do super effective damage. I switch into the Azumarill, knowing that I can tank his Shadow Balls. And then here, I'm charging. I'm knowing Confusion takes a while to show animation and load up. And then go with the Player Off, trying to KO. It doesn't quite KO, but his Hypno dies again. He probably was really close to that Shadow Ball. So here, loading up. I have an option to go Ice Beam or Player Off. I go Player Off for the KO. We're looking really good here. So he runs the exact same lineup. And I guess lucky for me, I just caught him on the lead. So here, I know Deoxys is the one and truly almighty counter to the Probopass with the counters. So here I'm trying to just pay attention, making sure I'm using the counters as much as possible, knowing I can tank another charge move from Probopass. And this is just Rock Slide to do little to no damage, but it is enough to KO. So that right there was learning from match 1, right? Making the adjustments, learning the the matches that could turn around with the different strategy. So instead of using Psyshock on the Toxicroak, I go shield baiting Surf, and luckily for me, it was enough to change the entire series. So lose the first one, come back with the 2 wins, and we move on to round 3. Round 3 will be up later. Sorry for the delay. We had a bunch of news PvP wise that dropped yesterday. Still kind of going over it. A lot of you can just read up on the new information, but I want to get into like the more interesting stuff, as far as, hey, can you switch on charge moves anymore? Can you what I call sacrificial swapping, basically the same thing, trying to switch into a Pokemon right when your opponent has the charge moves set up, etc., etc. Hopefully more information comes out, because there's supposed to be a new mechanic as far as swiping and tapping. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Keep it short and sweet. Hope you enjoyed round 2 and last round 3 coming up soon. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Later.